I have to wait for Lynette. I actually need her.
Let's get loaded. Let's get loaded.
You ready, Lynette?
I'm ready.
Call to order.
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided and published in the Asbury Park Press and the Ocean Star on January 5th, 2018. Copies of the agenda were provided to the newspapers posted on public bulletin boards in the township website.
Thank you. Everybody, please turn off or silence your phones. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Here.
Councilman Halloran.
Here.
Vice President Crate.
Here.
Councilman Mumolo.
Here.
Councilman Fosman.
Here.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Here.
President DeYoung.
Here.
Thank you.
Everybody, please rise for salute to the flag in a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Madam Clerk, please accept and file the municipal reports.
I will.
Very good. Next, can I have a motion and a second for the September 12th and 25th, 2008 meetings, please?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fosman, second by Councilman Mumolo. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crate.
Abstain September 12th and yes to September 25th.
Councilman Mumolo.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes to September 12th, abstain as to September 25th.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor, would you like to come up and make a presentation?
All right, so we have a very special night tonight. On November 1st, Brick Township is going to be saying goodbye and so long and thank you to Michael Fowler. He's been our planner for Brick Township for the last 25 years. And we're having an awesome village zoning ordinance on later on, which is Michael's kind of last hurrah, so to speak, and it's a great ordinance because it's going to be eliminating the mixed-use zones, so we don't have to worry about those large apartment building condos going up on those three of the sites. The fourth one, unfortunately, already has them behind the post office. Michael leaves a remarkable legacy of kindness and true stewardship for our township. The hallmarks of his legacy include a commitment to protecting parklands and open space, with an overall goal of making Brick more accessible through pedestrian paths, bike trails, pocket parks, and conservation areas. Michael has driven the land use policy for our town, balancing the constant demand for development — we all know everybody wants to build in Brick — with the need for pedestrian accessibility and a responsibility to plan for affordable housing, not in large apartment complexes, but scattered throughout our neighborhoods. His leadership led to our township's commitment for homes for people with developmental and intellectual disabilities, again, in homes in neighborhoods that are indistinguishable from all the other ones in the neighborhoods, which is great. You don't see that in a lot of towns. You see big apartment projects. This is one house, three houses down. There's another one, 4 houses down, whatever the case may be. You would never know by driving around town. And that's the whole point, having affordable housing where people want to live in neighborhoods. Simply put, Michael's legacy is one defined by the creation of a true sense of place in countless neighborhoods in Brick Township. Have you ever ridden your bike to Windward Beach to enjoy the farmer's market? If you have, you can thank Mike Fowler for that. His goal before retirement was to see the farmer's market come to fruition and to make sure every park in our town has a bicycle rack. Are you one of the many people who enjoy our community garden? If you are, you can thank Michael Fowler for that. Seeing that project become a reality was also on his bucket list. Have you ever searched for a quarter at Costco? If you have, you can thank Michael Fowler for that. While frustrating at times, having our large store parking lots clear of carts is safer for everyone, so it is a safety thing. Because Michael knows there are just some places you have to go and errands that you have to complete and won't work for you even if you ride a bicycle. You have to be in the car in the parking lot. Michael has faced countless challenging applicants and dealt with a large assortment of mayors and council members, and he has managed to stand his ground for what's right for Brick Township because he's always respectful, supportive, and above all else, the voice of reason. The impactful, lasting marks of his leadership will remain with us for generations to come. That is why Michael Fowler deserves the key to our township, and I'm delighted to present him that tonight, and I want to say thank you for everything that you've done for our great town.
Just very quickly, I'm not one for a lot of words. Thank you, Mayor, for your kind words and your support over the years. And to the council members, you've made my job easier. Doing things with people who are trying to do the right things makes life easier every day here in Brick. And Scott Keneally, I think I've worked on and off with you for the past 25 years, with great legal advice I've gotten since probably 1994, 95. Joanne, our administrator, for your support and positive attitude. It's got me through a lot of difficult times here in the past 5 years since you've been here in Brick. To my, I guess, co-workers and my minion, or to the division head, department heads, it's been my privilege to work, with you and also for the people of Brick Township. Thank you very much. Thanks again, Mayor. It's been great.
Get a picture. Picture, everybody? Chris is in the back. Yeah. We could just stay in the back.
Yeah,
If we all, we'll stand up.
put the mics down. Hey, Mayor. The active shooters can get
Everybody's giving Michael a kiss.
Township employees, you may leave now. Except for Michael and Tara. Michael, you still have work. Okay. Moving on to our consent agenda, please.
All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Very good. Resolution 4-1, recognize Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This resolution recognizes October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month to raise awareness and support those courageously fighting breast cancer and honoring the lives lost to the disease. Resolution 4-2, authorize receipt of bids, operation of Brick Beach 1 food concession stand. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for the operation of Brick Beach 1 food concession stand. The current 3-year contract expired at the end of the 2018 beach season. The new contract will also be a 3-year contract commencing with the 2009 beach season. Resolution 4-3, authorize receipt of bids, employee assistance programs. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for Employee Assistance Program services. The bid is to provide assessment and counseling sessions for employees and supervisory orientations as needed, as well as training workshops on a quarterly basis. The bid also includes a quarterly utilization report and a 24-hour phone line, which handles routine appointments within 72 hours and emergent appointments immediately. In 2017, the township spent a total of $17,947.50 for these services. The current vendor is Preferred Behavioral Health. Resolution 4-4, authorize award of bid, Peterbilt Parts and Service. This resolution authorizes the award of bids for Peterbilt's parts and services to Hunter Jersey Peterbilt in Clarksburg. Their bid was for $95 per hour labor rate and a discount of 25% off manufacturer's suggested retail prices on parts. This will be a 2-year contract. During the current 2-year period, the township spent $177,000. Bid notices were mailed to 4 prospective bidders. From our bidders list, of which 3 picked up bid packages, only 1 bid was received. Resolution 4-5, authorize award of bid construction supplies. This resolution authorizes the award of bid for construction supplies to Madison Township Lumber and Supply Company in Matawan at a schedule of prices for a variety of items. Bid notices were mailed to 14 prospective bidders, of which 2 picked up packages. 1 bid was received. This will be a 2-year contract. During the current 2-year contract period, the township incurred a cost of $22,000. Resolution 4-6, authorize award of contract purchase and delivery of regular unleaded gasoline through Stafford Township Cooperative Pricing System. This resolution authorizes an award of contract for the purchase and delivery of regular unleaded gasoline to Petroleum Traders Corp. In Fort Wayne, Indiana, at a rate established by the Stafford Township Cooperative Pricing System. This is a 2-year contract not to exceed $85,000 per year, with the funds to be certified prior to each year, or prior to each order. 4-7, authorize rejection and rebid access control system and authorize second rebid. This resolution authorizes the rejection of rebid for the access control system and the authorization to rebid. Bid notices were sent to 18 prospective bidders, of which 5 picked up bid packages. 2 bids were received. 1 was deemed to be non-responsive for failure to properly complete the proposal sheet, and 1 substantially exceeded the budget appropriation as approved in the 2018 capital budget. Therefore, it is recommended by the the Director of IT to reject all bids and rebid this service. Resolution 4-8, authorize change order number 1 final digitization of historic property tax card project. This resolution authorizes a change order decrease in the amount of $5,280.09 in the contract with Rico USA for the digitization of property tax cards. Resolution 4-9, establish fees for Traders Cove Marina services. This resolution establishes fees for Traders Cove Marina. The Recreation Committee reviewed the fees charged for the services at the marina, including boat slips, jet ski docks, transient docks, use of the boat ramp, and winter storage. The committee reviewed a comparison of charges at nearby marinas and made minor adjustments to the summer slip fees and jet ski docks. The committee also recommended a lesser rate for residents in accordance with NJDEP Green Acres regulations. Resolution 410, support Brick School District's litigation for equitable distribution of state aid. Mayor?
Thank you. I'm assuming everybody here in Brick knows about it, but if you don't, Senator Sweeney, our legislature, they passed an ordinance that is robbing our children of school funds, and we did a resolution, or the council did a resolution asking the governor to veto that. Unfortunately, the governor didn't listen to us, so our kids are getting a bunch of money stolen from them by our state government and given to other towns. So this resolution supports the Brick Township School District's litigation for equitable distribution of state aid. The Brick Township School District is receiving less than the state aid it should have otherwise received. So our loss of aid for this year only is $1,913,022. That's a crazy amount of money, $2 million directly out of our children's education. If the 7-year plan, if they keep this in effect, the 7-year plan, Brick is going to lose $23,244,000 by year 7. But that's not the worst of it, because what happens is when you don't replenish that money, it's not there, right? So you're not getting it this year. We're definitely not getting $2 million. That $2 million turns into more than $2 million next year. So the cumulative loss for the district from 2017 through the 17-18 year through to 2024-25 is going to be over $42 million. So $42 million of our children's education is being taken away, and it's just not fair. We're going to be fighting a lawsuit. I'm going to give you a couple of pointers on the lawsuit. So there's a New Jersey Constitution. We all know the United States Constitution, but there's a New Jersey Constitution that provides that funds for the support of free public school are to be annually appropriated and be for the equal benefit of all people of the state. All people of the state includes Brick Township. That's Article 8, Section 4, Paragraph 2 of the New Jersey State Constitution that our legislature is violating. We have an additional constitutional basis. It's a violation of our due process rights of us, the taxpayers, because they're unfairly and without due process of law imposing an arbitrary and unreasonable property tax burden on each and every one of us. It doesn't make any sense. Why is a kid in another district worth more than a kid here in Brick Township? They're not. Every kid should be equally funded, and it's just a total abomination of our Constitution here in New Jersey. And the disparate treatment is unacceptable, and the district has no choice but to pursue litigation and have this matter heard by an administrative law judge. The municipality must be named as an interested party in order for the school district to go, and we're hopefully gladly set to do this. I'm 100% behind it for sure, and I think everybody else would be. We have to be named as an interested party and this resolution is going to confirm that, and our participation, the school district is the actual plaintiff. They're suing. With regards to the district, there's going to be taxpayers. If you're interested in being a taxpayer who wants to sue, wants to join this lawsuit, there's no cost to the town either, no cost to the taxpayer who joins. But the school board's going forward. They're going to retain a law firm, and they need a resolution from the town in order to go forward. And I'm 100% for this. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 411, authorize placement of tax liens for property cleanups. This resolution authorizes the placement of tax liens for property cleanups at 50 Pilot Drive in the amount of $119.71, 130 Jib Circle in the amount of $366.63, 1 Homewood Drive in the amount of $363.48, 355 Hudson Drive in the amount of $72.81, 324 Hudson Drive in the amount of $409.44, and 607 Duquesne Boulevard in the amount of $72.81. Resolution 412, authorize special events permit Willow Springs Rehab Community Concert. This resolution authorizes a special events permit for a community concert at Willow Springs Rehab from 1 to 4 on October 14th at the center located on Burnt Tavern Road. 413, bond releases and reductions. Madam Clerk.
Yes, 413A is an inspection fund release for Saker ShopRite off Route 70 in the amount of $106.28.
Thank you. 414, tax collector. Mrs. Burke.
Thank you. 14A are tax overpayments for the year 2007. There is one in the amount of $1,116.25, and 14B is tax overpayments for the year 2018. There is one in the amount of $245.81.
Very good. That ends our consent agenda. I'll open it to council.
I have a question. I have a question on 4.9. I believe there was a misprint there. Under G, 1G, it says $12,000 for season. I think it would be $1,200. Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure that goes in right. And I'm just curious about the dock boxes. They're not included. It doesn't say that. Just the electric and water are. No dock boxes are included. I mean, they were before. I don't know if they're included still.
Yeah.
That's on number 1.
Right here.
It says electric and water. Are dock boxes still there?
Dock boxes were not on the original number. For summer sub fees, Councilman Bosman?
Yes, number 1, yes.
No, they just removed the up to 20 feet. and they removed the bayfront slips, added frog hooks, and added boats with an 8-inch beam or less. at the-
Yeah, I know, but
Right,
dock
that's what-
boxes there?
Dock boxes were not there. I have the original
All
here.
right. Very good. Green acres there. Okay, that's all I have.
Can I have a motion and a second, please?
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Pontoriero, second by Councilwoman Zapsik. Open to public. Anybody? Yes.
Else's hand up. Once again, you seem to not be able to remember my name or any proper form of address. This lawsuit, seems that you love lawsuits around here, and it will cost us money. However, your statement was that the Constitution of New Jersey requires that you spend on the education of all people in the state. Well, how about getting behind giving to the parents of of schools like St. Dominic, which I will talk to during my comments later, for the extra money they must pay in and above their taxes? They're getting nothing out of what they pay in taxes. So what's going to happen to those people? Think you better think about bringing a lawsuit for the public schools, in addition to which the governor, I believe, had asked for, I don't know what he called it, an investigation, audit, something like that, about why our taxes are so high. And I'd like to see the results of that. Why is taxes in one town different from the other? School expenses should be uniform all the way across this state and not by township. This is disgusting that you even attempt to validate a lawsuit under the circumstances that you are, because you're not providing the education to every child in this state, particularly the youngest. I'll have more to say.
Next. Yes.
I also have a question.
Can you state your name and address, please?
Kathy Erickson, 58 Collins Court.
Thank you.
On number 10, Tom's River is also in the same boat that we are. They were nailed like we were. Are we working in conjunction with them to get more people? I realize Trenton doesn't really listen to us. We're not the cities. We don't have the voter base. But I'm just wondering if we would work in conjunction with Tom's River and just have double the, either one big lawsuit or two separate lawsuits or something of that
I would
nature.
I would assume Tom's River is going to join, but I know there's a bunch of towns who, anybody who got less funding is going to join, they're going to be involved with this lawsuit. So
Yeah.
Neptune, I know, I think Tom's River would, but you have to ask, you'd have to go down there and ask them,
I
obviously.
would hope so, 'cause I'm tired of my taxes going up to pay for people in North Jersey.
Yep.
Next. Oh, okay.
Erin Bolger. I would just like to say to the council and to the mayor, thank you for this lawsuit. As a parent, it's important that I know my child goes to school safe, so thank you.
Next.
I'm assuming everybody wants to get home to watch the Yankee game, including me? I'll be quick.
I don't care, I don't care.
On number 3, you said everything but what those services are for. What are the services?
Yeah.
So our employee assistance program is facilitated through our HR department, and we use that for a few things. One, Preferred Behavioral provides crisis counseling. So they operate a 24-hour-a-day hotline. If there's an employee who is in crisis and needs to talk with someone, they provide a certain number of counseling sessions after that call. They also come in and do supervisor training. They do other types of training that we ask for, whether it be diversity training or sexual harassment training. and provide us with a quarterly report of their activities. So we don't know who's made any calls for help or who's gone for help, but we do know how many folks have called and what their general area of concern was.
These are all things that would not be covered under medical plans.
Correct.
Okay. Told you it would be easy. Number 6, the purchase and delivery of regular gasoline. Is that for Public
Hill.
Works? That has
Yes.
nothing to do with
Not
across
with
the
the
street?
schools.
Okay, so you're still going to be using the school?
Mhm.
Okay. Another easy one. Number 7, just my own curiosity, what control systems are you looking to purchase?
Access control systems for the doors, for the doors in our municipal building, correct. So currently, we still have keys, a key system, which can be challenging. We have groups of people that do work weekends, that work late, and we don't want all kinds of keys all over the place. So a fob system works better because it's tied to your employee number. You know who's here in the building, when they're here, when they're coming,
That's a
when
good
they're
one. I
going.
love that. I got a new car. Never have to use a key. I love it.
Yes.
Okay. Establishing Traders Cove services. Just to answer your question, Councilman, in most marinas, dock boxes are not included.
And I believe we had dock boxes in the beginning.
Okay.
That's why I asked.
But in most marinas, they're not
I know.
included. If you want to,
A lot of
want a
marinas
box,
don't
you
supply water either, you know?
Yeah, you supply your own. I brought this up the last time, and I see it's still there again. All your dates don't overlap, all right? As an example, the boats are in their slips until October 15th, but winter storage doesn't start till November 1st. So there's a 2-week period there that's in limbo. Then your boats come out of storage May 31st, but the slips don't start till April 15th. So there's a 2-week period there where, I don't know why what are people supposed to do with their boats?
It's basically a grace period. Sometimes it's raining, they don't want to get the boat out of it, put the boat in the water yet because it's cold, and it gives them a grace period so everybody's not there all at the same time too. and
Okay.
Craziness.
So what is the grace period?
The-
2 weeks.
The period of time, 2 weeks between, you just said what the gaps were.
Okay. Wouldn't it be easier just to say, these are the dates, rather than have them,
We like to be fair to people,
Okay.
give them a chance to move in and out.
just curious. I saved the last for best. Item 10. And I'm as interested as most people about money when it comes to the school board. 2 things I read, and one you said, and I have a couple of questions. On paragraph 8, be it further resolved that the Brick Township School District Administration is directed and authorized to provide whatever assistance is reasonable, so forth, so forth. This says that the town council is directing the school board to do something. I
Yeah.
wasn't aware that you had that kind of authority.
That's what they asked us to do in order to join this lawsuit. Apparently, that's a requirement, is we have to ask them to do it. The school board asked us to put that language in.
That you're directing them to do this?
That's what they wanted us to do, so yes, we are.
Okay, well, I'll ask the same question this Thursday, but it
Okay.
sounds kind of funny that
Yeah,
you are directing them to do something.
They gave us the language that they required to be in our
Okay.
resolution.
And in the other paragraph, it says, you must be named as an interested party.
Yeah.
Who's making you be named as an interested party? Where does that come from?
It's the process, the judicial process, part of the complaint filing. The administrative law courts require certain things, that's one of them. That's why we're having this whole resolution, otherwise, as you know, school board's separate, but
Yep.
it's required for
I
administrative law.
thought it was
courts.
separate, but it sure doesn't
Yep.
sound like it's separate.
New Jersey.
Okay, and I guess I'll get my answers from them. I only have a couple more questions, right? The New Jersey legislature appropriated the limited monies. So who's being sued?
State.
The defendant would be the Department of Education, the state of New Jersey Department of Education.
Well, you see, that's not what it says. It says, whereas the New Jersey legislature has appropriated limited monies. It doesn't say anything about the Department of Education. It says the New Jersey legislature has appropriated limited monies to fund the state. So if they're the ones that are limiting the money, then it's not this Department of Education, it's the legislature. So are we suing the legislature? But my next question is,
We're not suing
has that ever
We're
been...
not suing anybody, it's the school.
We is a generic term, right? You're quote-unquote directing them to do it, so I'll say we. Has the legislature ever been sued before? Can anybody answer that question?
We're providing direction to the school board to follow the appropriate process to appear before a judge. Apparently, the process, the only way to formally be heard and to get the data that they need, they've been asking for data
Okay.
on how they came up with the formula and have
Okay.
not gotten an answer. They've been told that that's, I don't know, Lisa, if I'm speaking out of turn, if you might know more from your liaison role, but when they came and asked us for support, they indicated that they were trying to get their hands on the formula so that they could contest it or point out perhaps flaws that were in it clearly for this sort of disparity in the funding. They were not able to get that, and the only way to get the information that they need and to be heard is to appear before a law judge. So for them to do that, they need support from the town and direction from the town to process the right paperwork and the right filing to get that appearance before the law judge and make the formal request for the information they
Okay,
need.
so the answer to the question is, we don't know who is getting sued.
We know we're
They'll
following
make
the
that
process.
determination. Again,
Huh?
the school board will make that determination. Whatever they think, we're
Okay.
behind it. We think they're stealing from our kids, and it's not right.
Then you have no idea how much this would cost to do this lawsuit. Okay, and I have a question for our legal department here. Would a law firm take this kind of lawsuit on a contingency basis? You know, they get paid if we get paid? I'm using we as, we're all in this together.
I would say unlikely. I would say unlikely.
Unlikely, right? Okay, so, let me sum up my thoughts, right? And I'm not saying I'm against anything, but as a taxpayer in Brick, it sounds like we're suing somebody, but we don't know who. It's probably the it's probably the legislature, all right? It's probably, again, I don't know for sure, never been done before. It's gonna have a monster of legal fees.
There's been school funding cases for decades. So you can go back to the Abbott cases in the 1970s. There have been challenges by municipalities challenging the legislature's funding of school funding formulas. And that resulted in the Abbott case, which created special districts that get greater funding. The issue that is being raised now goes beyond Abbott because it's not a situation of funding schools, districts that are of sort of unique need, which is what Abbott called for, but you have disparate funding of municipalities beyond Abbott. And who the named party will be, it's not really our issue, it's the Board of Ed. The Board of Ed needs the municipality's consent. This resolution is saying we're granting you consent to proceed. The town is actually a named party, but in name only. We're not a participant in the litigation. The Board of Ed's attorneys will handle that, and it's a challenge to the funding formula. But this is not the first time, in my recollection, I'm not a Board of Ed attorney, but these cases come up anytime there's been a change in the funding. There have been challenges through the courts to challenge that funding on both sides. There will be boards of ed from large cities on the opposite side. There will be Board of Eds from Abbott districts challenging it. But it is subject to a constitutional interpretation because our state constitution has specific language on education funding and what has to be done, as well as federal law on fair and efficient funding. So it's an appropriate issue to be resolved in the courts if the legislature changed the formula and it doesn't meet constitutional muster.
Okay. My only concern, well, I have more than one concern, but my concern is, obviously, this is a very emotional issue, as the mayor so elegantly put, right? I'm wondering if anybody's looking on the other side of this, that's non-emotional on the other side of it. The state is broke, although I'll make one comment at the end, right? We now have a Democratic school board and the Democratic town council and the Democratic mayor supporting a lawsuit of a Democratic legislation and a Democratic governor, all right? Wow, where is this all going? I don't know.
To me, kids are much more important than politics. This is local, this is local.
I
Our
hear
kids
you.
are more important than any type of political thing.
I hear you, Mayor, but where's it all gonna end up? And how much is it gonna cost to do this? And I understand the politics. I just read an article today, and I'll sit down because I said my piece, right? Let me find my little piece here. Oh, here it is. Little-known fact of the budget from July 1. The new budget allocated pay raises for legislative staff at 80 local assembly offices. Right? This is the assembly, and the Senate does the same thing. Yeah, the raises were from $110,000 to $135,000. That's a 22.7% pay increase for legislative people for a state that doesn't have any money. To me, that's the biggest scam in the world. Thank you.
Anybody else for public? Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crate.
Yes.
Councilman Mumalo.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarera.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to 415, Bill Resolution Computer 2018.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Computer bill resolution in the amount of $9,969,058.18.
Open to council? Seeing none, close council. Motion and a second, please.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Pontarera, second by Councilwoman Zapsik. Open to public for any questions? Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Abstain on Asbury Park Press and New Jersey Press Media, and yes to the rest.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crate.
Yes.
Councilman Mumalo.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarera.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Abstain, CME Associates. Yes to the rest, please.
Thank you.
Next, 416, Bill Resolution Manual 2018.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $1,695,704.28.
Thank you. Open to council. Can I have a motion and a second?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Councilman Halloran, second by Councilman Mumalo. Open to public. Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crate.
Yes.
Councilman Mumalo.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarera.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes. Next, we have ordinance on first reading. There is no hearing on the first reading. 5-1, amend Chapter 110-18, Township Code and Fees.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 110-18 of the Township Code entitled Fees.
Mayor?
Thank you. So this ordinance, it's a first reading, so there's no public hearing on it, but this ordinance changes the beach fees for 2019, including providing a slightly higher rate for non-residents. A lot of people have asked that the residents should get a discount. The beaches are on our township's recreation and open space inventory and are subject to Green Acres regulations, but those regulations state that municipalities can charge more for non-residents. So the Recreation Committee opted to increase the daily beach badge rate from $5 to $8. Also, the non-resident seasonal beach badge price is going to be $35. For residents, the seasonal beach badge cost is still the $25 until June 15th, and then $30 thereafter. That remains the same. The non-resident fee will be set at $35 and will remain in effect regardless of when they purchase a badge. So even if they purchase it, for Christmas, or if they purchase it after July 4th, it doesn't matter. It's always $35 for non-residents. The ordinance, as we all know, it provides free beach access to active military. And here's the great part. This ordinance provides free beach access for any veteran who provides a copy of his/her DD-214, proof of military status. So it's brand new. We're adding something for our veterans. They did so much for our country. They fought very hard for our country. And here in Brick Township, we want to be able to let those veterans come in and use our beaches for free. So that's a big change, and it's a very, I know the Recreation Committee was right behind it, led by Councilwoman Zapsik. She wanted that change, and as did everybody else, I think, and it's just a great way to salute our veterans. In the years past, the last 2 years, we did a Veterans Appreciation Day, which was on July 4th, where we had veterans free beach access, and now it's every single day. So, thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a motion and a second?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Pontarera, second by Councilman Mumolo. Open to council. Closed council. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crate.
Yes.
Councilman Mumolo.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarera.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now we have ordinances on second reading. 6-1, amend Chapter 245, Land Use Village Zone. Mayor, I'm sorry, Clerk, Madam
An
Clerk.
ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 245 entitled Land Use and creating a village zone.
Mayor.
Thank you. So this is the second reading, so obviously there's a public hearing. So this is that great zoning ordinance I was mentioning during Michael Fowler's key presentation. It's exciting that it's on for its second reading. So it's a village plan. So what it does, the first thing it does is it's actually replacing the mixed-use overlay zones. So we have 4 areas in town which are called mixed-use overlay zones right now. It was basically areas in town that were exchanged in exchange for like impervious coverage down by the Costco shopping center, so they could do more impervious coverage. So the mixed-use overlay zones, that's what allows like those large condos, apartments, things like that. The 4 zones are the triangle piece between Burrsville, 88, and Jack Martin, which is right now just trees, and hopefully a VA clinic in the near future. The second is the Food Town site, which hopefully in the near future, again, will be the sports dome and then whatever retail in the front. By the way, on that, there's a planning board meeting in December. And the third one is where the Outback is. Right now, we all know it's a shopping center, but they could change that with the current zoning in effect. That could become like a huge apartment complex or apartments upstairs, or put 100, 200, 300 in there. The fourth place is behind the post office, which we all know is already apartments and going to be future condos. So we weren't successful in stopping that one, but the other 3, this does away with that mixed-use zone. The village plan is going to be portions of 3 roads, Herbertsville, they're all county roads, Herbertsville, Drum Point, and Maniloking. And those are the roads you go down where you see a house, another house, and then all of a sudden there's a store, and there's another house, and there's a strip mall, then there's 3 houses, and it just kind of is all mishmashed. And those stores, probably a lot of people don't know, they have 1 or 2 apartments upstairs, and it's just kind of the way it was developed over time. So this village plan is going to legalize those ones that already have this non-conforming uses of apartments upstairs. So the neighborhood deli on Herbertsville Road, Cozy Kitchen on Herbertsville Road as well. All those, they have, people probably don't even realize it. They go there to eat, they don't realize there's people living upstairs. So a lot of those places have problems because they can't repair their houses or their businesses, because it would be really expensive for them, because right now they have to go to the Board of Adjustment for a use variance kind of thing, because they're a non-conforming use. So there's 2 different things in one zone, which new zoning laws kind of don't allow. But they're grandfathered in. That's why they're already there. So what's that? That's going to allow people to repair their businesses, fix their facades, spruce up the buildings that they have already, because now they don't have to spend all that money on a use variance before the Board of Adjustment in making those changes. They may have to go for other reasons, so I don't want everybody to think like, oh, it's free for all. They still might have to go if they're too close to the road or setbacks and all those other things, but those are things you can't do away with to make things easier. One thing it doesn't allow, it's no apartments on its own, so somebody can't decide, oh, wait a minute, this is a village zone, so I want to build apartments on their own. You can't have that. You can't have gas stations. That's another thing that people have said, it's too many gas stations. It feels like there's gas stations everywhere. So it's you're not going to be able to do new gas stations in the village zone. It's just overall going to create a better atmosphere. So instead of having those large apartment buildings like we have behind the post office, for example, it's going to the most anybody can do. So it doesn't matter how big your building is. So you have Farrow's Teas on Herbertsville Road, which is a pretty big building. if you were to build even one level of apartments there, you could probably fit 8 apartments, right, on top of there. This village plan doesn't allow you to do 8, maximum of 2. It depends on your square footage, depending on your square footage, your maximum may be 1, but no matter how giant your building is, you can never do more than 2. So what that does, it takes away the heavy infrastructure hit. So where you're going to have, whatever it is, 130, apartments / condos in that post office area with a 2-lane road coming out of there and turning onto Chambers Bridge Road, it's going to have 1 or 2 apartments in various spots. And it gives people options. We've heard from a lot of business owners that they wanted to build an apartment above their business, and they're going to be a business down the stairs, and I want to be able to live upstairs, and it just wasn't allowed. It was going to be way too much money for them to even go before a board of adjustment to do that. Now those owners are going to be able to do that. Also, right now, yes, everything, the buildings are full, the businesses are thriving, but we just came off a time period. We're still getting out of it a little bit, but just 3-4 years ago, remember how empty a lot of our businesses were. It gives the owners of those properties an ability to still make money by renting out an apartment or 2, depending on how big their business is. So they're going to still have some type of income, even though they're the owner of the building. Maybe they didn't have a business. Maybe they rented it out to somebody that went out. So when times are bad, such as they were 3-4 years ago and before that, they're still going to have a little bit of income. So it's an overall great planning tool. It cuts down on the big giant buildings and makes it more of a village. I guess that's why they called it that. But it's it's going to allow all sorts of restaurants and retail goods places and professional service establishments. You just can't do gas stations or apartments. Thanks.
Very good. Can I please have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Pontarero, second by Councilman Halloran. Open to public. Yes.
On the short side. Hi, I'm Diana Diaz. I live on 409 Raleigh Road. I have a couple of questions. With regards to the triangle, I don't know who can answer this, which is the Bursville, Jack Martin, and 88. Mayor Ducey mentioned it was all woods there. So what is that currently zoned at right now?
I think it's business and residential.
Oh, that's right. It's a hospital support zone, so it's perfect for a VA clinic because that fits right in with the zoning, and that's part of the requirements in the application process for the VA clinic.
Okay, but it is hospital support zone. The other question, I am so sorry because I made a bunch of notes here, so I'm trying to follow here. So basically, also on, say, those roads, Herbertsville Road, Manalocan Road, if there's a home already existing there and they decide to sell, what the rezoning for the village would mean that someone has the option to put a business there, commercial property, and then if they wanted to, they can put the apartments on upstairs, right? Just so that I understand that.
Yes, at the addresses that are included on the next ordinance, but yes.
Okay. So then, also, did we talk on point 2, amending the zoning designation for various
No.
properties? Okay. That'll be next. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Yes.
Yes. How come the signs, hospital support zone, disappeared from that triangle? If it's still zoned as a hospital support zone?
It's zoned as a hospital support zone, but then there was, in exchange for the Costco site that I talked about with the impervious coverage, a mixed-use overlay zone, meaning it overlays it. The underlying zone's still there, but this is an overlay zone, which is now being removed with this ordinance.
You're removing the overlay zone that you did without a public hearing, changing it for the Costco.
Not we, none of us were here.
The sign was there until very recently. I always saw it. I always brought up that it would be a perfect place even to have accommodations for people, particularly most of us. The relatives live out of state. Our apartments or homes are small, and it could be a lodging place, like a Marriott Residence Inn, for when the family comes down, or to be there while we're in the hospital or a rehab. as has happened to many of my neighbors lately. But the sign disappeared almost overnight. I used to see it all the time. I used to always suggest things like this, but nobody did anything with it. And there's no hearing. It's not that there's nothing, it's that you don't have to mandate the public get the opportunity to speak on a first reading. There's nothing prohibiting you from doing it. And I'm back to when I came here, getting close to 20 years now. There was a caucus meeting one week, a public meeting the next. A caucus meeting the following, a public meeting the next. And if there was a fifth week, you got a freebie. The caucus meeting always had a reading of what was on for first reading, had discussion, allowed input from the people, but there was no official vote until the public reading. So there was a reading of it, just not the official vote. This way, we don't get to really know the facts. You didn't read what it is. You recapped it in your words. Also, the place behind the post office, that had originally been designated 55 and older. There were a lot of people that were very upset when that designation was removed. However, the legislature was who removed that. If the developer could prove the market wasn't there for a restricted age, they could offer it to any age. The mixed use, and the mixed use was something, and I give Michael Fowler, Tara Paxton, and Alyssa Cummings all the credit and praise in the world. However, I also know they're employees, and they take their marching orders from somebody other than us. There was a change to the master plan at that time. Michael Fowler asked for residents to be on a committee to work with them on it. There was one person volunteered. I never got called to attend a meeting. I was here. He did happen to let me know the night that it was being presented, and I was here for that. Much of the mixed use, and it goes all the way down past here to the Parkway, from up where the commercial area on Chambers Bridge and 70 to Brick Boulevard on the master plan as being a mixed use. And a lot of it had to do with what we that were growing up in the 40s, 50s, 60s were able to do. We didn't have money to go out and buy houses when we got married. I know. I got married in 1961. I rented the second floor of a two-family that God bless my landlady and landlord, who were much older, and she called herself my grandmother. To me, she was my mother, who had lived 7 miles from me and died when my first child was 5 months old. And if it weren't for Zoe, I don't know what I would have done. She was my mother and took care of everything and really helped me with my children. Oh, really? There's no time limit on this. Not when it's a public hearing.
Ms. Hall, please move on, please. Thank you.
Also, Mayor, I looked at the Constitution. You are responsible for this whole town, including the school. I suggest we have a meeting and we have a forum discussing it. Read it. The school board has no authority
Ms. Call, this has nothing to do with the ordinance on the first reading. If you have anything further, please ask it.
Okay. Now let me coordinate my thought processes. I'm not as young as you who can't remember my name, so it'll take me a minute to regroup. The mixed use. That was to help people who either couldn't afford to have their own home, or in some cases, there are people that really can't manage the money and shouldn't own their own home, because that's how they wind up in foreclosures, like what happened in the 90s where in my neighborhood in Brooklyn, people were setting up real estates on every block and selling to people that they knew couldn't afford that mortgage, and then it all got reclaimed from them and they lost money galore. So you better find out the history of how that mixed overlay and what it was meant to do, because you have destroyed it, and there is no affordable housing for most of us here. Unfortunate. But a lot of the people in my community and across the road, they're old ladies who are living on Social Security based on their husband's work record, which is, by the way, never been meant to be a pension system. It's a welfare system. Read the 1935 Social Security Act. It spells it out in detail.
Next, please. Yes.
How far down Mount Alokan Road and Drum Point Road does that village designation go?
That's the next ordinance. That's the next ordinance, Mr. Finelli. There's two.
I thought we were on,
This is one.
The village zone.
I believe they're
The
charged.
zoning
Michael, you have
designation
charged.
is
Do
the
you have
next
them?
one.
no, the village zone.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have the map.
The village thing, that's the one we're talking about.
Yes, but the next one does the zoning, which actually designates the actual properties.
Okay, I don't want to know the properties, all I want to know is how far down.
It's different sections.
Michael's going to get some,
Oh, we have it.
There's two ordinances.
We have it.
No.
Where's that? My question was, if you're designating a village area, and on the paperwork, you had all the types of businesses that were allowed, right? You know what I'm talking about? You had 3 or 4 pages of business was allowed.
Yeah.
So my question is, does the one on Mount Alokan Road go all the way down to Adamston Road, and is Adamston Road part of that, and does that list include medical marijuana stores?
No, no to neither. It's Manaloking Road, Herbertsville Road, and Drum Point Road.
Not
And Adamston Road is right, and Adamston Road is right
It
between
doesn't,
Mount Alokan and Drum Point.
But
So
that
my
is-
question is Adamston Road
No.
part of that?
No.
No, Manaloking, Herbertsville, Drum Point. There's 3 roads. No, nothing that connects, not church, not, all the different ones that connect it.
Okay.
Obviously.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
next. Yes.
My concerns with the village zone, and I'm most familiar with Herbertsville Road. The first thing people do when they want to do is reduce the parking permitted. On Herbertsville Road, the mayor's familiar with it, the Alcor building. It's very nice. It's for Alzheimer's patients, and they don't drive, so they don't need parking, which is true, except all the employees and all the village visitors now park on the side streets. And as you know, people who live on the side streets aren't happy. A good part of Herbertsville Road that is included are the number streets, 16th, 17th, 18th. There's no more than 200 feet from corner to corner. People are going to put stores with apartments over them. There's not going to be enough parking.
That would still have to go in front of the Board of Adjustment.
And they always, yeah. But if you go down Bridge Avenue in Point Pleasant, you will see store after store after store with apartments over it. Very few of them have enough parking. And I'm afraid that's going to be an issue in that area. All those side streets are very residential. I would like to see Herbertsville Deli redone. I don't want to see a big store with apartments over it and not enough parking. I don't want to see the little houses knocked down and they build two or three stores with apartments over them, and then there's not enough parking. And the overflow parking always goes onto the side streets, and it's very annoying They had the problem with the commercial building on Duquesne Boulevard with all the parking in the residential area, and that is my major concern with it. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. You have to step behind.
Sam Foster, 108 Teague Drive. I came late to the meeting. I was at the Township Council Meeting, so didn't hear everything here. But I want to agree with the last one who just spoke about the problem with the parking. I live in Burchard Park, and when there is a problem there with the football games, and residents are very mad about people that park and block the driveways and things. Also, I used to work in Point Pleasant. I can tell her I used to deliver food to the stores there on, I forgot the name of the road, she just said it, to Bridge Avenue, yeah. And she's absolutely right. I mean, the residents there park in the back, and but sometimes people, if you go into the stores there, it's terrible. And even here on Chambers Bridge Road, we have people, apartments above some of the businesses, and it's just terrible. I mean, I go to get my hair cut on Chambers Bridge. I forgot the name of the barber shop there. And sometimes there's no parking, and it's just terrible. So I hope that this, everybody takes that into consideration.
Next. Yes.
Good evening, council people and mayor. I'm coming today because I guess I'm a little...
Name and address, please.
Helen Bayad.
Thank you.
338 Crystal Drive, that's in Lake Riviera. Okay. Very happy to be back in Brick. I was out for a couple months, but happy to be back in Brick. What confuses me is the village zone. You have B1 at the bottom of Drum Point Road and parts of Drum Point Road and Manalooking Road, which is not a B2, a commercial zone that allows pretty much everything like restaurants, etc. Not the B3 or the B4, which is Route 70 or Brick Boulevard. But in the village zone, what happened to the B1 areas, like the lawyers' offices and the smaller things? Is that absorbed into it so that now they can be the lawyers' offices downstairs
Mr. Fowler or
and
Tara,
apartments
does
upstairs?
one of you want to grab?
Mr. Keneally.
Or Mr. Keneally?
I think I can answer without looking at a specific lot, but the general idea is those properties that might have been B1, which was neighborhood commercial, essentially, a small lawyer's office, or a Mr. Keys or things like that, are village zone now. So that use could have an apartment above it. And what precipitated this is a lot of those properties on Manalooking or Herbertsville fell into a category where many of them had a lawyer's office or some commercial use with an apartment above it because they were constructed years ago. Those properties, if they wanted to do anything on their property, had to go to the Board of Adjustment because they were zoned as B1. That was a non-permitted use to have the apartment upstairs, even though it might have been grandfathered. This now makes that a permitted use, subject to they still have to comply with all their setbacks, lot coverage, et cetera. But so it's the village zone is very similar in the sense that the uses that were in the B1 are the types of uses that are in the village zone ordinance in terms of commercial uses.
But they were allowing certificate of occupancies for the stores on the the apartments on the second floor. And they were built, I think, before 1978, when we did get our board,
They could be
our
CO'd,
planning board.
but suppose that person came in and wanted to build, an accessory garage on the property, or they wanted to change anything, on the property. It triggered, essentially probably a use variance, because it was even though you could CO the apartment as a rental, it was a non-conforming use for zoning purposes. And this would now eliminate some of those hardships that were existing on those types of uses, which are kind of village uses, a small professional building with an apartment above it.
And is my understanding that the zone goes to the end of Manalooking Road, to the end of Drum Point Road, or to, thank you, sorry, I haven't seen this.
So it starts right
Yeah, I know where that
Not these comments.
Goes down, picks up the deli and the gas station down by Cape Breton.
There were some properties that were split zoned where the line, the zoning line might have run through a lot before based on a lot having unusual depth. And so the zoning is now going to match the lot lines as opposed to running through a lot, which also created use variance situations because the lot had split zoning. So this is
I
the,
sat on planning board 7 years, so I well understand, not the Board of Adjustment, which handles all those technical problems. I think that this is an advancement, and I'm glad to see it happen.
You can finish your thought.
What bothers me, this solves a lot of problems on our main roads, but I would think in the early 2000s, a zone was created, say Sky Manor, and I did send out a letter so that you would have something to refer back to if I'm confusing you. Sky Manor was 75 by 100. It was built 75 by 100. All the houses are 25 foot off the street. And it's a beautiful area for one reason. It's got lovely lots. They're nice big lots. People like those yards. And God bless it, it's all ranches, so people like me like that too. But no one can improve their properties there. It's similar to what you've done on the main street. They cannot go out in Sky Manor and get a building permit to put a second floor on or a family room in the back of the house because it's 25 foot off the street, not 30 foot. It was rezoned R10. And like we said, that happened in the early 2000s. You've stopped all development there. Not development, but improvement. And that is, you know, what I really care about. All those people have to spend, and I'm gauging it at $3,000 to come before the Board of Adjustment to say, oops, I'm 25 foot off the street instead of 30, but I want to put a second floor on my house. And those houses were built, 45 years ago. They're really ripe to have new kitchens and new things done to them. So that if you decided on having a zone similar to this for areas in Brick, down Manalooking Road, Brenton Woods, Venata Woods, Cape Breton, they were all subdivided on 50 by 100. Now they were geared up to 75 by 100. Well, none of them matched the zoning, and each time someone wants to improve Brenton Woods, they have to come for a Board of Adjustment application, where we said if you are improving your property under the zone under which your house was built, so Sky Manor, you were built under 75 by 100, you're not going any further forward, you'll stay on the setbacks. You can stay on the setbacks for an R10 or allow them to the setbacks to which they were built. They were built on R75s. They're beautiful pieces of property down there. They're good little houses, but the word is little. We're not all wanting big mansions, but we do want maybe a little more square, or a second bathroom. It is a very nice thing. Everybody would like to have a second bathroom with the children growing up. But you're spending $3,000 to come into the Board of Adjustment. And I've seen it time and time again where people have stopped when they find out they have to have a survey, an architect, what all? I can't even name them all just standing here.
Ms. Fayad, just so you know, this was, received your letter, and we've already put it into our Land Use Committee to be heard at the next Land Use meeting.
Oh, very good.
So.
If you would like, I would love to come and express myself on this subject. I've been in real estate in Brick 47 years. And I think my comments, other than that, belong under number 2, so I should wait and come back.
Yes, please.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you for considering my suggestion.
Anybody else? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crate.
Yes.
Councilman Mumalo.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarera.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
6-2, amending the zoning designation for various properties.
An ordinance amending the zoning designation for various properties on the zoning map of the Township of Brick.
The zoning designation for various properties specifically applies to parcels along Herbertsville Road, Drum Point Road, and Maniloking Road. The ordinance provides development standards that apply to new construction. Planning board review and approval and architectural committee review are required on all new mixed-use or non-residential developments in the proposed village zone. The ordinance came about after our township planners identified a trend in the Board of Adjustment cases related to mixed use. The ordinance will legalize many structures, which makes it easier for property owners with plans to upgrade or make improvements. The ordinances were sent to Planning Board for review and approval. Can I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Mumalo, second by Councilman Halloran. Open to public. Seeing none? Yes.
Alan Fayette, 338 Crystal Drive, Lake Riviera, Brick, New Jersey. Again, I want to say that master plans take a long time to develop. There's a lot of input from the community into master plans, into what they want in their neighborhood. I'm here on one exact issue. Cedar Bridge from Target and there is all B2 commercial. And then you come to the corner where Dr. Leoniak's property was, and it's beautifully developed in medical offices now. And I own 2.5 acres, one lump sum. And boy, did that take a lot of work to get. I had to go after all the heirs and buy them out and go to court to make that into one piece, because they were 40 by 100. And when I got to court with my lawyer, and I had all these little scrappy pieces of property, which you can see on the map I gave you, there was somebody else there. They wanted it. They wanted to put all little houses in there. Okay? Well, the judge does what a judge does. Go out in the hall and fight about it. And come in with your decision. So oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for telling me. So what had happened is we went in the hallway and I had to buy the guy out. So now I got this chunk of property, and what has happened is it's all commercial, and then one piece of it, which isn't buildable, is commercial, and then right next to Dr. Leoniak, another piece, you made a commercial. Not the whole 2.5 acres. Do you know what a good rateable this could be for Brick? It's not going to be another gas station. We've got 6 of them up and down Route 70 already. Years ago, when I was elected in 1980s, oh my goodness, I'm getting old. The point is that at that point it was strip malls. Ooh, ooh, run, strip malls, there's too many strip malls. Well, this year's probably going to be the year of too many gas stations. But they have a right to try, and they come before your board, and they have the right to be approved. So I don't fault anybody for that. Just, I think it's going to be a few too many. What I would like to ask, in the future studies of the master plan, or if you get in depth in the master plan, that this be zoned, you know, commercial, like Villa Victoria's commercial, Weatherhead Young, I mean, all the way around there, everything, all the way down Hooper Avenue is commercial. And then this piece is left in two little waggy things that cannot be developed. Ratables are important to Brick. Ratables keep my taxes down. So again, I'm asking you, reconsider some areas where ratables can be good for Brick. We can put medical buildings there or something, I don't really care. Medical buildings probably would help me out, God knows. But I think that it's important that we zone that one whole corner, and I'm asking for that tonight. So thank you very much and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes.
Diana Diaz at 409 Raleigh Road. Just a real quick question, it's more of a confirmation. So all those existing properties on Manalocan Road, Drum Point Road, Herbertsville Road, just the ones that are coded mixed use are going to be changed over, correct? So there's, are there other codes in there like?
No, we're getting rid of the mixed use is four
Mixed
different
uses.
sites. It's Outback, Post Office, Triangle, Old Food Town.
Yeah.
Those are the four mixed-use overlay zones which are disappearing.
Okay, so
There is no mixed use on
the
Herbertsville
for
or
those roads. So on those three specific roads then, are there any that are currently coded as an RR1 that are going to be changed?
Residential one. I think that's by the high school.
A lot of R1, or R75, B2, B1, R75.
One's by Memorial.
what property, Tara?
The fire training center, not as part of the village zone, but in the rezones, the fire training center is being rezoned from OPT to RR1. That's where the fire company does their training across the street from the Havens Homestead.
Okay, but that's not located on any of the three main roads, correct?
It is on
Herbertsville.
Herbertsville. Mhm.
Okay. Okay, that's the only one? But that's the one?
Yeah, on these three main roads, that's the only one I believe that's being,
Rezone 2 RR1.
rezoned to RR1, not from RR1.
Right, so I guess the question is it, that's currently an RR1 zone, moving into a different zone?
No.
No.
Redesignated?
No. RRs are staying RRs, or there's going to be more RRs.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, close public roll call, please.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crate.
Yes.
Councilman Momolo.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes. Moving on to public comment.
Please note that each person addressing the council during any section of the meeting during which public comment is permitted shall limit his or her remarks to 5 minutes pursuant to Brick Township Administrative Code, Section 2-33B.
Who will be first?
John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court. I'll read my letter that was dated October 4th.
Dear Mayor Ducey, Council President DeYoung, and the council members, as well as the citizens of Brick and Ocean County. Politicians are always willing to march in a parade or participate in an event honoring someone who died about 500 years ago. I guess it's a nice photo op, but what about the residents that are living today? We have parades for Kazimir Pulaski, Christopher Columbus, Johann de Kalb, but they are also long gone. Politicians like to show up at more important dates like the Philippine Independence Day, Cinco de Mayo celebrations, or National Puerto Rican Day because it looks good in the newspapers or on television. It seems more understandable when a governor, freeholder, mayor, or council member shows up at celebrations at least like Flag Day, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, for one, it's visible reminder that what our country is or has been. But what about the people living today? When is the last time that you heard a politician stand up for the current residents against the bureaucracies or institutions like the New Jersey Turnpike Authority, or against the political parties like the Republicans and Democrats? I know we all hear about golf tournaments, a business that helps you get 1 or 2% off your taxes, plastic straws or bags, and even papers that are on the beaches. But when has a local, statewide, or federal politician stood up against the bureaucrats in defense of their citizens? Study after study reveals the truth about how the profiteering allies harm our citizens, but these big money lobbyists, big government bureaucrats, big business and union functionaries control what elected officials can do or are willing to do for the working class of their communities. We need a 14-foot pollution and safety wall along with reforestation of the adjoining areas in Evergreen Woods, Primrose Gardens, Greenbrier, Brick High School, and various other areas within Ocean County. And it seems like our elected officials shy away from anything that's controversial. Once again, let me mention a couple of the recent studies that some solutions that were suggested in part by the United States Environmental Protection Agency. The Health Effects Institute put together a panel of scientists and looked over 700 studies from around the world. The conclusion was that traffic pollution causes asthma attacks in children and may cause the onset of childhood asthma, impaired lung functions, premature deaths, and death from cardiovascular disease and morbidity. They said the areas most affected were in areas up to 500 meters, basically a third of a mile, from the polluting source. Children and teenagers were most vulnerable because of their outdoor activities. In another study, it found that long-term exposure to traffic-generated air pollution may increase the risk of COPD. Those with asthma and diabetes were most at risk, which would cause premature deaths. Another study found an increase in the risk of heart attacks and dementia for those working and living near roadways like the Garden State Parkway. With all these studies reaching the same conclusion, we need to ask all our politicians, what are you doing for the citizens that elected you? In 2018, the United States EPA stated pollutants emitted from cars and trucks are found in the air near major highways. Particulate matter, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, and benzene emitted from the tailpipes and brake and tire debris become dust in the air. Studies found that working or living within 600 yards of the roadway suffer high risk of asthma, reduced lung function, and even cardiovascular impacts in adults. The recommendation to curtail the impact of this noise, safety, and pollution is that kind of wall to reduce the pollutants by 15 to 50%. Additionally, trees and plants can reduce the particle concentrations between roadways, schools, and homes. The effectiveness of trees and brush depends on the density and height of the greenery, but they say that the vegetation should be thick and 20 feet or more from the ground without gaps beneath the vegetation. The types of vegetation should be placed in an area close to that source of pollution and should be planted in consultation with nurseries, U.S. forestry, and cooperatives. Once again, a 14-foot noise and pollution wall is needed in all those areas I mentioned before and stop the premature deaths of our citizens. And also, with the gas station coming up on Burnt Tavern Road, next to all that new park, we need walls, forestation to protect the people. Thank you for your time.
Next. Yes.
nobody with a hand raised. I'm going to presume you mean me. I had 3 pages typed up that I was going to bring with me that start with, I'm taking a page from Mr. Sluka's book, literally and figuratively. I will not be repeating everything that I had typed up, but I will post it on several places, including Facebook, etc. The first thing I want to talk about is, I have mentioned many times, you have Student of the Month. I wasn't on today, or tonight's agenda, and I want to tell you that I expect 2 weeks from now, when you have the meeting, that there will be a special ceremony recognizing the Blue Ribbon Award that was won by St. Dominic's in Brick. There was a write-up on the patch and in newspapers. I also will send you a copy. I will post a copy of the write-up in the diocesan paper for Trenton about the fact that 5 schools in the Diocese of Trenton got this very limited, coveted award. I looked at the list that was available through one of the online sites, and we had 5 in Ocean. There was 3 somewhere else in another diocese. Even Newark got 1. Now, Newark is not a place that is known for having the greatest education available, but that Catholic school got 1. The Catholic schools outnumbered public schools tremendously. There was not a public school in Brick. I'm not sure there was one in Ocean County that got that award. Read what it's about and see how wonderful. And yet, all those parents, as I mentioned before, pay their taxes. They don't get money from Trenton as far as the state goes, and they have to pay tuition. It is a sin. If you're going to fight for something and you really mean you think first of the kids, Mayor Ducey, I suggest you think about the Catholic school kids. You have one, a council member has one, you shouldn't have to pay extra. So that said, that was one of the items. I had many. One concerns the fact that back, I think it was earlier this year, a gentleman from Greenbrier got an award here, or got a ceremony, a recognition for having gotten the French Legion of Honor medal. Well, he wasn't the first in Brick. My good friend Walter Prooksma in Greenbrier, too, had gotten it before that gentleman, but there was no ceremony here for him. This, not for that. This Saturday, I am so deeply honored that Walter has contacted me, and at first I thought I had a conflict, and today when we spoke, he mentioned that that there will be a general at the Manasquan Presbyterian Church on Saturday to give him the highest medal from the United States of America, and I will be there for it. He mentioned that if I mention this, and I'm going a little bit outside of the boundary, if anybody from here comes, he doesn't want the mayor. Walter and I have a long history from the time he first moved in, and he'll tell you, my late husband and I were the first to welcome him. I see you're going to knock me off, so those are the 2 most important things, but everything else I had to say, including my opinion of Democrats after the spectacle that went on and was so angst-ridden for me on the Supreme Court Justice and what you did, even Democrats, I'm sorry, every one of you I call now Democrat, demonic rats.
Just so everybody knows, we will be honoring St. Dominic's at a council meeting when they are available to come to a council meeting. We've already reached out and spoken to them.
Yeah, they were looking at November 20th, probably.
Thank you.
And one of the best days ever of me being mayor is the day we honored Walter Proxima, who he asked me to call him Rookie. We had him here because he was getting that award. And that same day that we honored him, we had a current Marine who came in with his parents, because his parents put those flags up and down Jordan Road. And it was, had to be 2014, I think.
When we first came.
Yeah, so it was a very special day. So he definitely was honored for that, and we didn't miss it. Anytime they let us know, we would definitely honor him, and we did. Rookie was here.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yes.
Sam Foster, 108 Chico Drive. First, I want to say that I agree with what Ms. Cole said earlier about we should have the caucus meeting separate from the public meeting, because I know it was first done, it was done because of in order to save costs, but I'm wondering how much money is it really savings to the township to do that. I think that the ability of the politics to participate in the caucus meeting and be better informed would be something that should be considered. And that's all I have to say.
Yes.
Stephen Brill, Evergreen Woods. I have wondered why this council and prior town councils' lack of genuine support to mitigate the noise from the Interchange 91 project and its associated shoulder widening project. I found the answer on page 5 of the Brick Township Master Plan. It states, and I quote, "To actively urge the New Jersey Highway Authority to pursue and provide additional interchanges along the Garden State Parkway within and close proximity to the township, which will alleviate traffic congestion within the township." You sacrificed Evergreen Woods. You pushed through the interchange project because it benefited the other parts of Brick Township, and then you walked away from your responsibility to mitigate the resultant noise and pollution. You only went through the motions to address the problems of noise and pollution. Knowing this, that the Brick Township political representatives pushed for this interchange project, both Ocean County and the New Jersey Turnpike Authority just went through the motions to deny Evergreen Woods homeowners mitigation. In fact, you violated the master plan that states to improve the quality of life for all of Brick Township residents. Your legacy will be the selling out of the Evergreen Woods families impacted by the Garden State Parkway projects.
Next. Yes.
Three chairs on the St. Dominic thing. That was on my list of suggestions. Glad you have it covered. Just a little more input. They're in the top 15% in the country, 300 public schools and 49 private schools, and 3 of the private schools are right in this area. I know St. Leo the Great was one of them, and I think one in Point Pleasant, but I'm not sure, so I'll be clapping for that. By the way, some of our tax dollars do go to support that school. We pay for nursing, we pay for special needs, we pay for security, so they are part of the Brick Township. One quick question. I read yesterday or today that the township received $469,000 grant for school security. Do you have any idea how that money is going to be utilized yet?
The federal grant, yeah.
Yeah, from what I understand, but don't quote me on this, is to help offset the cost of the security that they're working on for the referendum. It's going to help to offset some of that cost.
Okay. It doesn't answer my question, though.
You said what was it going to be used for? Yeah.
Like the hardening of the schools, the vestibules,
the
all the things.
Okay. Let me ask my question again. The money was awarded to the township, $469,000, not to the school district. So are you saying you're going to give them the $469,000 for them to use the way they want?
We had to be the lead applicant. The way the grant funding program became available was only to municipalities that were working in concert with their school district to provide the hardening of schools, as the mayor just explained. And the reason for that is that security falls under the auspices of the police chief of every town in the state of New Jersey. So he must direct the security protocols that will be implemented at the school, which is why it is awarded to the municipality, so that the police chief has an active role in how it's implemented.
Okay, so the answer to my question, which I still didn't receive.
The mayor did answer that. It's the hardening of the schools. It's the infrastructure costs to do some of the improvements that they outlined in the plan, which was part of what we submitted as part of the application. So what the school board is putting forward as their plans to harden the district is what was awarded for that grant.
Okay, so let me summarize what I think you might have said. You're going to take the $469,000 that the township and the police chief secured, and you're going to give that to the school district to put towards their security plan. Is that correct?
It's correct. Not that I expect that we're going to be handing over a check for $469,000. It's a reimbursement grant. So part of the school district will outlay the funding, and then we would facilitate the process of reimbursing through the grant.
Okay. The reason I'm asking, it's very obvious, right? We have a referendum on the ballot.
And the
right?
referendum requires a match, requires a local match, and this will offset that. Or it will offset a portion of it, correct? Okay, sorry.
I read the referendum on the
Sure.
sample ballot that came out today, and it says nothing about the township matching anything. It
No,
says
the township's not-
it says roughly 40% of the bond issue is going to be paid by the state government. So what I'm trying to find out, and what I want affirmation of before I go to the school board meeting on Thursday, is there's another $469,000 that's coming into the pot for security that was not mentioned in any of their previous presentations.
Which I don't think it could have been mentioned previously, because it was a shot in the dark to submit this application and to be funded.
Okay.
So there's no way you could put that into your budget as anticipated revenue to offset the cost when it was a complete shot in the dark to see if we were going to
Okay,
get
but the
funded.
money is there now.
The money is
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
which we just got notice of that last week.
I understand that.
Okay.
All right. I'm having a tough time getting a straight answer from you, and it's a little discouraging.
Oh, I apologize. I'm certainly trying to do that, so.
Okay, so $469,000 that we didn't know we were going to have, now has, and is going to the school district for some of their security things.
Correct.
Correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else on public? Seeing none, close public. Mrs. Bergen.
I have nothing further, thank you.
Mayor.
My first thing I was going to say, we received a $469,000 grant. That's called the COPS School Violence Prevention Program, and it's for it's going to be helping out our school district. And there's a number of things that they're doing at the school district. They're going to be wanting to do vestibules, bulletproofing of the vestibules. They're going to do a new ID system. There's all sorts of technology that's going to be available. And you should watch that presentation of the school board. There's another one coming up October 27th, if I'm correct on that. The presentation by the school board.
It is, hold on a second.
Oh, you can say it.
I'll say it.
Listen to Lisa. She'll tell you when that is. I think it's the 27th, but it could be the 29th. That's what I'm not sure.
It's the 29th.
It's the 29th.
Referendum fair is the 29th.
October 29th. Thanks.
I'm like,
All
I
right.
know what happened. I can't.
I told you I don't know if it was last meeting or one before, we had that new Recycle Coach app. Just a fun fact is Brick Township is the best performing town in Ocean County. We surpassed Tom's River with the amount of downloads, so it's nice. Our residents are taking us up on looking at that recycling app. Thursday, I will be at Midstream School for Walk to School Day, so all the kids out there, I will see you Thursday, and we'll have little pencils and wristbands and stuff like that to give away. And I spoke a lot tonight about village overlay zones and Michael Fowler. Thank you, Michael, for your time here in Brick Township. And school funding, so I'm done. Thanks.
Mr. Keneally.
I have nothing to say, thank you.
Madam Clerk. Ms. Hartman. Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. I'm just keep it very brief this evening. I'd like to congratulate Michael Fowler on his upcoming retirement. I had the pleasure of being a coworker of Michael's for 11 years, which is a relatively short time considering the duration of his service to Brick Township. Found him to be one of the most knowledgeable people I've ever had the pleasure to work with. But beyond that, he's a true gentleman always, in every way, and someone who always brought kindness and consideration into the workplace, into his interactions with his coworkers, and certainly into his interactions with the public. I hope he enjoys a long and happy retirement, and he will be very much missed here in Brick Township. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that coming up is Halloween season is upon us. If you haven't been out in the stores and seen all the decorations right next to the Christmas decorations, but that's another story. The Eagle Point neighborhood, which is off Maniloking Road, every year they do a Halloween walkthrough. And last year was the first year I was invited to it, and basically the residents of Eagle Point spend the whole summer building this enormous scary walk through the woods. And what I really liked about it is that I don't particularly like to be scared. So when you get there, someone greets you and asks what your scare level is. And then they notify the people on the inside. If somebody's coming through like me, doesn't like to be booed, they tamp it down. But it really is, it was a work of art. It was just, you have to see it to believe it, and really appreciate it. So it's open to the public. Anyone can go. The times are Friday, October 26th from 8 to 11 p.m. and Saturday, October 27th from 8 to 11 p.m. The address is 72 Tall Timber Drive, which is right off of Maniloking Road in the Eagle Point section. And there is no fee to walk through, but the association, the Eagle Point Association, does accept free will donations to kind of offset the costs of the materials that they buy for this. So I'll probably announce it again at the last council meeting, but I'd encourage everyone to go in it and take a look at it. It's really something else. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Halloran.
Thank you, Council President. I also would like to congratulate Mike Fowler and wish him a safe and long and healthy retirement. He'll be sorely missed. I was fortunate to have served on the planning board and worked with Mike closely. You could not get a more intelligent supporter and service provider for making issues very clear to us on the board. So I wish him well. The other thing that I just want to remind people of, October 20th, Saturday at 9 o'clock is the Clean Ocean Action Beach Sweep at Brick Beach 1. It'll start at 9 o'clock. And now that the beach is double the size, or almost triple the size, we're going to need more people. But it's very clean, so it's a new beach. So hopefully people will come out and see it. That's all I have.
Thank you. Council Vice President Crate.
Okay, yes, first I'd like to say that I've also had a chance to work with Mike Fowler over the last 3 years, and it was a pleasure serving on the Land Use Committee with him. He is very knowledgeable, and I said yesterday when I found out he was getting the key to the city that supposedly doesn't go to anything, but I'm quite sure Mike would be able to find out if it did, because he knows everything about this town. He really does. His knowledge is just, unsurpassed of places in the town and where things are, and I was always amazed that he was able to point things out to me that I didn't even realize we had. So I wish him all the luck and a great retirement. The other thing that I want to talk about is our photo gallery night is taking place Thursday, October 18th from 6 to 8 at Civic Plaza. I've received all of the photographs from the Recreation Department. I'm currently compiling them, and I would love to have you come out and check it out. It's a free event to come. You can come and vote for your favorite photos, and we have some great prizes to give away to the winners. It looks like we have approximately 160 different photos to look at, so it is going to be quite the gallery. So I invite you to come out. We'll have some refreshments, and it's a great way to bring our town together to see what makes Brick so fantastic. So I hope to see you there. Trunk or Treat is October 19th from 6:30 to 9. We're going. It gets very crowded, but it's really a spectacular evening, and people go all out to decorate their cars, as we are going all out as well. So I hope that you come by and see what we have planned, because it's going to be really special. And lastly, I wasn't going to bring this up tonight since it's, still a couple of weeks away, but since it came up a few times, there is going to be a referendum fair. The Board of Education is offering a referendum fair on Monday, October 29th. I have the time set at 5:30, but I'm sure if you go to the district website, you'll be able to get more information. It's going to be at the high school, Brick Township High School. And if you have any questions or concerns or wonders or anything that you need to know about this referendum that the Board of Education is working on, then I highly recommend that you go out that night, take a few minutes, ask any questions that you have. They are so willing to talk to the public and let them know, what they need to know about this referendum. And having sat in on a lot of meetings and going to all the Board of Education meetings and seeing everything that's been presented over the last few months, I can tell you that the goal of this referendum is to keep the students of Brick Township safe. And that, working in a district and being a teacher for 26 years, the number one priority of any district and any teacher and any administrator is to keep students safe. Because if students don't feel safe when they come to school, then there's no learning taking place. So I just want to point that out. If you have questions, please go to the fair and ask away. Okay, thank you so much and have a good night.
Thank you. Councilman Mumolo.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank Michael Fowler for his 37 years of working at Township. I know Michael about a little over 20 years. I'm sad to see him go, but I'm happy for him. How many? 25 years. That seemed like 37 years.
37.
37? I thought it was 25 years.
Felt like
Sean, that's what it is. Sean's 37. But anyway, it felt like 37 for Michael. I'm sure the questions I've asked him over the years, but it's great, and we're going to miss him here. Also, every week we hear about the wall in Evergreen Woods and along the Parkway, and they recently did a survey. They sent out, there's a total of 804 homes that were sent the survey, and out of the 804 homes, 343 surveys were received back, and the sound barrier fencing project, they had a total of 58 people said yes, 285 people said no. The rest of the people of the 800 never submitted their survey. So I just want to point that out. And I hope to see everyone on the 19th at the trunk or treat. Thank you.
Councilman Fosman.
Thank you. Congratulations to Michael on his retirement, and I'm glad the school board, the $479,000 or $469,000 grant is there, and the co-sponsor of the grant was Tom MacArthur, and that does go into our township budget, that money there, and I believe that's what it's.
It wasn't his.
It's a reimbursement grant, so
It was Sweeney.
it will go in as chapter 59 to insert the
Was
grant,
Sweeney.
but it doesn't have to come in as a line item.
Okay.
Cash line item.
Okay, and I just have another thing is, Joanne, I just noticed in the back here, they have, where they're supposed to build that building for the police, there's a little black cloth going up, I guess, to stop soil erosion, and there's some, looks like sludge in there. I took pictures of it.
Okay.
And, all right, because they're not digging in the back by the water or anything to put it there. I don't know why the fence is up and there's sludge in there. All right, I'll show you the pictures after, okay. And that's all I have for tonight.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to say congratulations to Michael Fowler. I think it's fitting that his retirement occurs on November 1st, which is All Saints Day. This man was truly a saint for what he did for our town. He did everything that he did out of true love for Brick and out of true concern for the residents of Brick. No doubt in my mind that no one worked harder than he does, and with the pridefulness that our workers should have in doing the job that they do. So I wish we had more employees like Mr. Fowler, and his presence will be sorely missed. I did want to take a second to say that along with the mayor and Councilman Fosman, I was lucky enough to be able to attend the Unico Italian flag raising UNICO is an organization put together to not only acknowledge the achievements of Italian Americans, but also to act in service to different in need populations, specifically students who need scholarships to become educated. Everyone knows that we celebrate Columbus Day, and I am concerned, given the recent trends, that we will lose that ability to celebrate a day that marks a remembrance of someone so critical to American history. It's not about honoring Italian Americans, it's about honoring the work that was put in to making this country the country that it is today. We cannot lose sight of the people that came before us to help and encourage what we've seen throughout the generations, allowing our country to take just a moment and reflect on the sacrifices that were made by people like Christopher Columbus, who started sailing at age 12. Just take one day. I don't think it's too much to ask to keep recognizing the importance of Columbus Day, and I hope that it continues in the future. And the job that's put forth by UNICO, the Knights of Columbus, and the arrangement of Michael Blandito, who runs the Columbus Day parade and festival, all the hard work and efforts are so appreciated. It was a beautiful ceremony. If you have a chance to come out to it next year, we were lucky enough to have good weather, so we got to see the Italian flag get raised outside for the first time in the past couple years. Other than that, I hope everyone has a great night.
Thank you. I just want to announce, I believe I did last council meeting, this Thursday is our senior health fair at the Senior Center on Adamston Road from 10 to 12:30 if you are interested. Saturday is also our Fall Fest from 2 to 7. There's going to be the food trucks and the different hay rides and all the games for the kids and different organizations. We also are accepting still donations of candy for our trunk or treat because we have thousands of kids come through. So we need candy donations, which can be dropped off at Civic Plaza, the recreation office. And just a huge thank you to Michael Fowler for his many, many years of service, and especially for the safety of that he guarantees us for the quarters for our carts at Costco. And I hope he has a very, very, very long and restful retirement, and he enjoys his time with all of his family. We here at Brick Township will miss him immensely. And with that, our next scheduled meeting is October 23rd at 2018 at 7 p.m. Can I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.